right, we got a short explanation of who causes video games to be so bad they fail from your boy Suncran Studios. Okay, so you already know he got the business suit on. All right, it's serious business when the suit is on. I feel like I'm getting flashbanged.
Thank you for joining me today. My name is Jarrell Dulé. I am a full-time games developer. I am also a qualified educator for training and assessment at Cert 4 level. My career includes public speaking, event organizing, training, industry consultant, and I offer
Wow,
guidance, direction.
I actually had no idea he was like a good public speaker, but yeah, he's just a good public speaker. That's kind of why it seems like he does all these videos and it's so effortless.
And an understanding of industry cultures to CEOs and business owners. Recently, we have seen many news outlets such as Time Magazine, Wired, and also a number of irrelevant smaller outlets who have destroyed their credibility over the years, like
Smaller outlets.
PC Gamer, Kotaku, and The Gamer.
Uh, I mean, these small outlets used to be big outlets. I remember all of those gaming journalists back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, before the internet. I mean, the internet was around back then, but it wasn't as big as it is now. More people have smartphones, they have anything they want at the flick of a button. Back then, if you wanted to do anything on the internet, you had to log on to AOL, America Online. Everybody had the dial-up internet and whatnot. Uh, that was just the internet back then. Like YouTube was in its budding years, and all these little outlets actually had some credibility because they needed to. There wasn't anybody else like reviewing games en masse.
Attack and blame general consumers, gamers, for causing video games to be bad products and failing commercially.
Mm.
This is quite wrong and it is contrary to the truth, so I will explain that today. Many factors contribute to the commercial failure of a product. What is consistent is that products that are not fit for purpose, that are
Mm.
poor quality, are extremely unlikely to become financially successful. What
I don't even know if being financially successful is even in these guys is like sites. I don't even know if being financially successful is like a bullet point on the goals of what they want to make the game accomplish. To be honest, that bullet point doesn't exist. Because to me it seems entirely like they want to do some sort of like social activism. They want to shed light on some random social justice issue that nobody cares about. Like maybe a minority of people give a shit about it, but this is not the majority. I mean, at the end of the day, it's it's these people's games. They can do whatever they want with it. They can't force me to buy it.
causes a product, a video game, to become not fit for purpose? Unlike other industries, game development is reliant on creativity, artistic expression, and an understanding of communication.
Mm.
If a person lacks the social intelligence to communicate with others, which requires listening skills, then a person lacks social intelligence and will lack the competence necessary to create a product fit for purpose.
Uh, well, I think he summed it up right there. That's the end of the video. All right. Oh man, but I mean, yeah, I mean, for the most part, a lot of successful games, well, not successful, but like a lot of games that just come out and they seem to just be curtailing on previous successful IPs, and then all of a sudden they want to come out, they want to do some sort of sequel, and ride the coattails of previous success of like a game or something like that. Like, why do they do that? Is it because they think the audience of like pick your favorite IP is just going to eat up anything that IP spits out. It seems like that's the case. That's what they think. There's an established brand with a set in stone. Well, not set in stone. There's an established brand with like a built-in audience. Maybe this audience will just eat up anything if we just slap some IP brand on it. You know, Halo, Witcher, Space Marine. What else? There's like a bunch of fucking games that were just completely missed the mark and were not good. Uh, yeah, it's just not good.
A poor quality product is created by incompetent creators. Today, I will explain exactly who is responsible for products, video games, that are poor quality and not fit for purpose. So who actually makes video games and who causes them to be so bad that they fail?
Don't say me. I don't make games. I don't cause them to fail. Well, I kind of cause them to fail when I don't buy them. And that kind of brings me some joy, which I didn't want to derive joy from. But the older I get, the more I see it happens. All of my other forms of entertainment have been ripped from my fingertips. They're the only form of entertainment I get is to see the the more or less hate videos, the what were we calling it? The grave dancing videos of yet another DEI woke piece of garbage media that came out and has failed. I find myself just enjoying that because there's nothing else to enjoy anymore. There's not. Like, I could go back and rewatch some old things that used to give me joy in the past, but you know, I mean, how many times can you rewatch Lord of the Rings? How many times can you rewatch Batman Dark Knight? So on and so forth. 300. Mad Max. How many times can you really go back and just watch those? I mean, yeah, they still exist. So they're not really completely gone. But as far as anything modern coming out, the only form of entertainment I have is to watch the grave dancing videos.
Let's have a look at our criteria. Number one, people who make games. Two, people who enable the games to be made.
Oh, is that me?
And three, people who play the games.
Okay, which is me? I kind of play games, but like I don't really play the games because in order for me to play the game, I need to buy the game. But if I don't think the game is good, I won't buy the game. So then I can't play the game. Enables games. What does this mean? Enable games. Like I played the game, and then I make some like a review, and then it kind of like encourages other people to play it. Is that like kind of enabling? Or I mean, I am certainly not a game maker by any means. Let me see. I am simply a consumer. I'm a customer. Like most people that watch all these like video game videos. External funders, director, 3D modeler, character design, composer, sound design, writer, lore, progression system, leveling system, QA, director, stakeholders, tons of people. Just need to write the word player in there somewhere.
These are very different categories. These people enable the games but don't necessarily make the games themselves. And these people have nothing to do with the creation of the game, which means that the game is made and these people have absolutely no control or influence over that.
And, you know, there's a little bit of overlap. There kind of is, but it's a three concentric circles. Or I forgot. Is this like concentric circle with like a circle inside a circle, or is this like the Venn diagram, the three Venn diagram circle, whatever?
Number one, external funders. External funders allow a game to be made by providing funds. Let's have a look at the director. The director is
Ooh.
responsible for the product as they
Why would an external funder choose to invest or give money into a video game? Is it because they see other external funders and their success of what has happened in the past and they want a piece of the pie? And that's just one facet of how they become a game enabler. Is that the case? Do they even give a shit on whether the game is good or not? I mean, I don't know.
have creative vision and they manage the teams
Ooh,
and must keep track of the product over the development time span and make adjustments and corrections where
ooh, that's a big role. That's a big role to fill.
necessary. They have the lead vision, and so the end product is directly tied to the director there. We have 3D modelers. Not every game uses 3D graphics, but many games these days use 3D
Yeah.
graphics, so a 3D modeler is in there. The 3D modelers do not necessarily come up with the designs, but they are very heavily involved with the creation process. It is the character designers that design, they come up with the actual design
Well, Concord didn't have any of this. I think they just used like Chat GPT.
of the characters. Let's see, we have composer here.
Mm.
Let's send this to the front. Composer comes up.
Oh, that's like Mick Gordon. Whenever he made the iconic video game music for Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. That's about the only composer I can name off the top of my head at any given time.
With the music, which is very important to games. People often become quite um, emotionally invested in the music of the game because they're such a huge part of the experience. So we'll go ahead and put that there, and there is no crossover there. We
Ooh,
also have the writer who is in charge.
ooh, the sound designer. The sound designer is the guy or girl that makes every other sound that isn't music. Like it can kind of be music, but every other sound comes from the sound designer. And sometimes there's a little bit of overlap, but I would probably guess not so much. You know, it's more like in movies, this is like the Foley guy, the Foley person. You know, they're responsible for like emphasizing certain sounds, like if you're hearing like footsteps of like shoes with like a heavy heel on like a wood floor, they're gonna come in and make like some heavy heels hitting wood floor sound. They're gonna make some like if you got some feet on dirt, they're gonna make some like pit pats on dirt and or any sound design really.
Of the overall story and narrative. So let's go ahead and bring the writer there. So
Ooh, the writer. Ooh, this is whoo. This is the job that everybody shits on when it comes to modern day storytelling for modern audiences. This is the job, the writing job. And I would say it's not I would say it's not an easy job at all. Because trying to figure out like what makes a good story is pretty hard. You know, you can have your standard hero's journey, which a lot of movies or stories go by. You have a main character. They go through many trials and tribulations with like a foreboding evil bad guy. Eventually, there's like a lead up point and a climax where the main character overcomes the bad guy, and there's a conclusion to the story. That's like the basic gist of like the hero's journey. And essentially, like the music industry, every story has already been told. Much the same way every song has already been written. To try to come up with something original is insanely hard. So I will say that writing a completely, seemingly unique, interesting, original story is a challenge by every facet that you can think of.
if the story is good or bad, that's entirely down to the writer, but often the writer will work with the director to make sure that the story has an overall cohesive vision and that it matches the rest of the product. We also have lore director, which is something that is a newer role that we see these days, especially when we are.
Oh, that's like red shirt guy in all those old ass World of Warcraft conventions where red shirt guy would come up and he would ask like a random question to stump all the Blizzard designers. And yeah, red shirt guy always won. Well, not every time, but like a lot of times he would just trounce them. uh, and the lore director can also kind of be the writer sometimes. We saw, who was the dude that wrote Game of Thrones? That dude with like the little goofy hat. I forgot his name. Who wrote that? Who wrote that? George R. R. Martin. Yeah, you know, during like the middle of like the entirety of him writing Game of Thrones, or maybe towards the end, he would literally come out and just say, "Yeah, guys, I forgot the lore. It's so massive, it's hard to keep everything in place up here. Okay? Sometimes you just need a whole nother person to keep track of what's going on."
Creating products that are directly tied to an established IP where the lore is heavily dense. We have stakeholders. They hold stake. They can be part of the external funders. They provide capital and they expect to earn a return on investment. So the game is created, is sold, it earns money, and the stakeholders will receive their.
This is the money guy. These are the money guys. I don't really know if they, I would probably guess not. They don't really care about whether or not, you know, I don't think they care about the reception that a game gets. They just want their money back plus interest. I mean, you would think that hopefully that these guys make a good game and then everybody likes the game, which means they'll spend more money on the game. And you know, having a good game come out like actually helps everybody. You know, that would be conventional like thinking. But you know, there has been a lot of graying of the lines with the advent of live service games, where a game could be kind of good or just good enough. You know, MVP, minimum viable product. Uh, those type of games get released, and then over the course of like 10 years, the game eventually comes to some sort of final end product. But during that whole 10 years, you know, a bunch of skins, gun skins, charms, stickers, emotes, doodads, knickknacks, baubles come out, and you know, people just buy them up. People just buy them up. People love spending money on skins and cosmetics, and not just skins and cosmetics. You know, sometimes there's pay to win games. They exist as well.
A return on investment over that. We have quality assurance. They do not directly create the games, but they.
Oh, that's the department that all the game companies want to get rid of. The quality assurance one. That's, yeah, every game company wants to get rid of this.
Work with the rest of the development team to ensure that the game itself is acceptable when it comes to the playability, offering feedback if they find any glitches. We have programmers, of course. They do the brunt work of creating the logic which allows the game to function.
This is the guy that has to write a line of code, but in order for him to write a line of code, he has to get the green light through some other guy, through some other guy, through some other guy, and that whole process can take upwards of like a month or two just to get change one single line of code. And that's why AAA game developers take a really long time to make video games, because literally to change one line of code, it takes forever to get green lights to change the code.
We also have level designers who create the environments. Again, not every game will use level designers.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I can see Unreal Engine 5.69 whenever they do a little tech demo and they can like make a valley out of nothing, make a forest out of nothing, It's like, oh, it's so easy to make levels, guys. Look at it. They just, you know, mess with the land, mess with the light, make cliffs, trees. They make a Bob Ross painting. What took Bob Ross like half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, these Unreal Engine bros can make in seconds.
Okay, we have director in there twice. Let's go ahead and get director out of there. And lastly, we have gamers.
Oh,
Now, contrary
little old me, little old this guy. He don't even matter that much. He don't even matter.
to popular belief, according to all of the news media outlets that you see out there, gamers do not enable the games through funding. They do not make the games. Gamers merely play the games. Let's go ahead and put gamer here.
And depending on who you talk to, this is like a word that could be taken as like an insult, because a lot of these guys can sometimes just straight up not like gamers. I hate gamers. I want to punch them in the face. Gamers are so bigoted. Gamers are this, gamers are that.
We also have streamers who play the games.
Oh, those guys. Oh, the lucky ones.
But they do not make the games either, contrary to popular belief.
They just publicly play the game. Play the game in public.
So the streamer will go down here into plays the games. And lastly, we have YouTubers who also do not make games. They only play the games. So we will have to put YouTuber down.
Ooh, they kind of doing the same thing. That's more or less interchangeable.
Down here and play games. Now, if you have a look at our Venn diagram here, you can see who makes the games. All the roles here are filled. We can see.
Ooh, but what happens in these like little overlap places? Ooh, what happens? Ooh, what happens in the center?
Who enables the games, and we can see who plays the games. Now, this is a very interesting statistic because it looks like the gamers, streamers, and YouTube don't actually make the games. The people that make the games are 100% responsible for a game either turning out good or bad.
Is this the roundabout way of with that single sentence? I knew we were gonna get somewhere. The most roundabout and direct way of saying that who makes the games? These guys. Who's responsible for when a game comes out that it's bad? Also these guys. It is in fact not these guys.
A video game is a commercial product, and whether or not it is fit for purpose relies entirely on these people here. These people merely enable the game to be made through financial means.
Okay.
And these people only play the games. So as you can see, it turns out gamers, streamers, and YouTubers are actually not responsible for your game turning out hot garbage.
Yes and no. Yes. Okay. So on the surface level, this is pretty true, but you forgot to also say there's like another title in here that they don't really make the games, but they are a part of the game making green circle, and it's called the marketing department. You know, how are you supposed to get your game out and known and like let everybody know that, hey guys, we made the game, we want to show you a clip, a trailer, some gameplay, so on and so forth. Let's make a commercial. We think this is gonna tap into like this core audience of gamers. It's called the marketing department. You know, if the studio is big enough to have like some sort of marketing department, maybe that's like more or less like a publisher and not so much a developer. But whatever. The marketing department influences the masses of people. Okay, they want you. They want to get their foot in the door and get your eyeballs on the game in the first place. The gamer, streamer, YouTuber can also influence the audience. These guys can influence the audience. These guys can influence the audience. So to say that, I mean, I don't know, maybe this could go like kind of like in the center, maybe like in the center, or like maybe this chunk, or I don't know. It's, and I would say the getting your foot in the door and like, because the whole point of this is to say that because these guys, the developers, are saying that, oh, you guys are just leaving a bunch of bad reviews, and when everybody sees all the bad reviews, that's going to cause everyone to, you know, just spiral and bandwagon into, you know, not playing the game. And these guys are trying to do the opposite, but in a positive way, to play the game, make you play the game. They're trying to spiral and bandwagon and, you know, drive hype to make you play the game. And if the game is good, these guys will do that for you. If the game is bad, these guys will be against you. Okay? That's the big and the small of it, or whatever. I forgot the saying. The short and the long of it, I don't remember. But I mean, again, it also falls back onto these guys making a good game to begin with.
Thank you for watching. Please tune in next time.
Oh my god, was that? Oh my god, that was so funny. Oh man, bro. What's his name, Jarrell? Whenever Jarrell does this, these like short little, direct to the point, like long drawn out, and then it's a climax point at the end. I feel like this is common sense, but I guess common sense isn't so common. But wait, what did he even make this? Recently, news media has published an array of articles about the video games industry, blaming gamers, it's me, as cause of games being so bad they fail. Gamers are the cause of games being so bad they fail. Well, no. Streamers, YouTubers, and gamers can't influence their audience to not buy a game. They can do that. Industry expert explains the truth and the cause of what causes games to be so bad. They fail to become financially successful. I mean, sheesh. I mean, what else can I say? Let me see. What does everyone talk about? Like, if Kotaku's journalists saw this video, it would blow their mind. Ooh, yeah, but too bad Kotaku's not really relevant. Nobody gives a shit. The fact that this even needs to be explained to some people is crazy. I mean, there's honestly, like, you could probably have like a way more like nuanced conversation, and about this whole thing. I miss the days when the entire make game sphere was inside the play games one. Now they could be completely separate. I mean, yeah, like if you're a game developer and you spend at least 8 hours a day making a game, the last thing you would want to do, I would imagine, is to, you know, once you reach like some sort of playable point, is to go and play the game that you just got done like making or like testing or whatever. Like, you know, kind of like how a cook, you know, while they are cooking, they are constantly tasting their food. You would assume that is something a cook or a chef is supposed to do, constantly taste your food, reassess, like, oh, it needs a little more of this, a little more of that, whatever. But in the games industry, it doesn't seem like that is something that is being uh like supported. Like, oh, you make this rig, or you make this little physics thing, you do this little mini game, you make it, you program it, and all this other stuff, and then you play it yourself. Um, to see how it feels. Do you like how it plays? Do you like how it feels? And then, I mean, because if that was done honestly, I think with like, I'm just gonna use like the AAA industry for a sec. I mean, if they were to constantly stay in that state, I think games would take even longer to make. Constantly like taste your game. Ooh, this feels good. This feels bad. Okay, and then it has to go through all the lines of I gotta take a month to rewrite this one line of code. When if we were a smaller studio, we could get it done real quick. But I don't know. It's like some of these big ass companies are just too big to like get anything done. Is what it seems, and it's like these big companies try, like, they wish that they could be mind readers to figure out what their target audience wants, but they can have all these random metrics that they can drum up with their from their analytics team and whatnot. But I mean, it would seem that even that isn't working. But I don't know. Who knows whether or not the games industry is going to be better? I don't know. Maybe I'll go read some of these like articles and whatnot. It'd be probably a funny read. But yeah, another banger for sure, dude. Keep them cranking. And oh boy, you almost reached 100K. Congrats. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. All right, take it easy, guys. Later.